you skim the logbooks, nights on the interstate look like fuel, miles, and coffee. But the lines hide teeth, and the space between exits belongs to things the manuals won't name. 10 drivers sent these accounts on the condition of no names, no carriers, only the promise we'd write the truth the way they told it. We changed a few mile markers, not the nights. If something matches your speed in the ditch and never blinks, you didn't see it. If a voice on 19 uses your handle without your breath, you didn't hear it. Keep the cruise steady. Keep your eyes forward. And if it follows you between exits, do not stop. Some stories don't like being written. First run. I-80 in a headwind that turned snow into sawdust. I was pulling a van load, chasing time to make Omaha. Somewhere west of Rawlins, I noticed the trailer shadow stretching wrong in the moonlight. It had a head, not a bump from the reefer, not a fold, a round head rising from the forward edge like something riding the catwalk. Every gust made it bob as if steadying itself with long fingers on the bulkhead. I tapped the brakes light to check the slack, watched the shadow lean sideways, then settle. At mile 196 a ranch road crossed under, and for a second the concrete washed the shadow clean. The head shape didn't blur. It vanished, then reappeared as if it had climbed back aboard between beams. The radio hissed once. I kept speed. The banging on the cab started after the next exit sign. 2 knocks left, pause, 2 right. Rule said don't stop between exits for knocks you didn't invite. I waited for a ramp, rolled, and never looked in the mirror. Second run. Night run on I-35, Kansas to Texas, straight wind. I keep 19 open for weather and construction. Around midnight a voice came through clear, said my handle in my wife's tone, then asked if I'd missed my exit. She never keys up, and she was sleeping 2 states away. I killed the squelch. The voice came again without carrier noise, like it rode the static rather than pushed it. Up ahead 2 taillights floated at my lane height, spacing wrong, no license lights, no sway. They matched me at 63, then 65, then 60. I eased into the left to pass. The lights dipped into the median and slid alongside at grass level, keeping pace as brake lamps underwater. The voice chuckled in my ear and said, "Take the next one, babe." I held center, stared at the fog line, counted 20 breaths. The next sign was for an exit that didn't exist on my atlas, with a name I could not later recall. I did not take it. I run with 19 off. Third run. Midnight stop at a closed rest area, Eastern Ohio, because my stomach decided the schedule. Lights in the lot buzzed orange, making skin look sick. A man in reflective gear waved me into a pull-through, 2 fingers down, palm flat, the universal sign. I opened my window an inch. He said, "Inspection, driver, quick brake check, you're leaking." He didn't have a badge, and his vest stripes didn't reflect when my headlights hit them. He kept his face angled so the brim of his cap cut his eyes. I set the brake and watched the mirrors. He walked to the trailer door, then wasn't there. No footsteps on frost. No missed brace. The passenger handle twitched twice, like someone tried it from inside. I keyed the locks, rolled forward until the wheels hummed, and saw a set of prints appear, heel to toe on the step, pressed into metal without dirt. The lot cameras caught nothing but interference. The log says suspicious person. My note says don't open to a vest that doesn't shine. Fourth run. Deadhead south before dawn, Louisville to Nashville, trailer tapping tandems. Somewhere past Elizabethtown, the mile markers stopped making sense. I passed exit 65, then 62, then 65 again, and my odometer didn't match the green math. Fuel ticker said I'd burned a gallon without moving. The sky stayed the same black. I spotted a diner up on a hill with a neon coffee sign, a place I swear was bulldozed. There were 3 trucks in the lot, cabs older than my father's apprenticeship. I didn't exit. A man on the porch lifted a mug and tipped it toward me. His breath didn't steam. My clock lost 8 minutes between mile 61 and 60, and the radio whispered my name like it had borrowed my mother's exhale. I saw exit 58 twice and took the second one like breaking a loop. By the time sunlight bled into the branches, I was north of Bowling Green with fuel missing. No receipt. The log says time discrepancy. My rule says don't follow neon that survived its building. 5th run. Night scale in Arizona, portable unit after a rollover. They flagged everyone to the shoulder and waved us across the pad. My gross should have been 72. Readout flashed 88 for 3 seconds, then corrected to 71.9. The trooper frowned, had me roll. Same flash, same correction. He tapped the screen, shrugged, and sent me on. 20 miles later, a hollow thumping started under the frame. Not tire, not driveline. Paced me, front to back, like something looking for a latch. I hit the next exit and coasted into a closed station. The thumping stopped as the wheels left the interstate out there. I walked the rig with a flashlight, saw hand-shaped streaks in road grime on the front wall, long fingers splayed, something tall riding the wind. The marks were higher than my head. No footprints in the dust. Back on the ramp, the noise returned until I hit freeway speed, then fell behind like I'd shaken a rider. My entry says equipment okay. My rule: don't weigh the hitchhiker. 6th run. Gulf rain on I-10, Baton Rouge to Lake Charles. Sheeted water and spray stacked into walls. The left lane kept empty, like the storm reserved it. In the right mirror, a pair of lights tucked behind my tandems, too low for a car, too steady for a bike. I checked speed, 60, then 58, and the lights matched, same interval, like a heartbeat borrowing mine. I hit the indicator and eased toward the shoulder to let them by. They slid sideways through the mist and took the empty lane without tires. No reflection. No splash. A pair of floating marbles that blinked never. The CB popped with a voice that wore my dispatcher's cough. Told me to stop on the gore before the next exit. Her shift ended at 9. The sign said 1 mile. The lights drifted closer, then ducked under the trailer like minnows into a dock. The rig shuddered one long time, the kind of wobble crosswinds can't buy, then settled. I held 60 and watched the mile tick down. At the gore I stayed arrow true. My rule: do not stop where arrows tell you to die. 7th run, mountain grade on I-84 through Oregon, chains off, fog pooled in cuts. I was feathering the Jake when a flatbed with no load eased out ahead of me from a ramp that only service maps show. No tractor, just the trailer sliding like a sled, taillights like ember eyes. It held 40, then matched my 50, then 45, always the same gap. When I downshifted for a curve, it scraped the guard with sparks that fell up. My CB hissed with an old song my father used to whistle when we cleaned carburetors. He's been dead 15 years. The flatbed's deck carried a shape you could only see when lightning flickered behind the cloud. Something laid out under a tarp that never moved but kept changing its outline, as if breathing once every mile marker. I took the chain-up area and watched it pass without driver, without snow spray, just a long dark table rolling through the curve like the road was on rails under it. My rule: do not chase a trailer looking for the tractor that left first. 8th run. I-15 night across the Mojave. Vegas glow behind me like a city reflected on a lid. I spotted a walker in the right ditch miles ahead by the steady bob of a headlamp, then realized there was no swing to the light, just a circle matching my hood every time I crested a swell. I killed the brights and the circle slid up the embankment to ride the fence line at my speed, keeping between posts as if the wire pulled it. 19 crackled with a handle I'd used 10 years back, a name I promised my wife I'd retire. It asked if I had room for one more and laughed in a cadence I knew from a man who froze to death in a reefer yard. I kept my window up and my hand off the mic. At the next exit, the light rolled down the slope like a penny on a tabletop, then zipped across the ramp and was gone as if it had tucked into my shadow. My rule says the desert walks too. Let it walk without you. 9th run. I-10 over the Atchafalaya, bridge and swamp trading places under your wheels. The rain came so fine it hung as a sheet, and the guardrail hummed with the tires of trucks I couldn't see. Something swam in the dark water to my right, matching my 65, surfacing without wake like a log that had learned lungs. Every time I glanced over, it slid under the span and popped up level with the next set of pillars, staying with me, not the river. The sleeper curtain moved behind me as if someone leaned against it from the bunk. I'd locked the door. The CB burped with my father-in-law's laugh. a sound I hear only at barbecues and funerals, and told me to pull onto the shoulder to fix that rattle. The rattle got louder if I lifted my foot off the throttle, so I pressed down and kept the needle steady. The thing in the water raised a pale oval once, flipped it flat like a hand signing goodnight, then sank. My rule: if the water paces you, let the bridge decide who reaches land. 10th run. North Dakota on I-94 in a ground blizzard that turns distance into a wall. The plows painted orange halos on nothing and vanished. My trailer walked in the gusts and every correction felt one breath late, like the storm was steering too. Somewhere east of Dickinson, a set of footprints appeared on the catwalk in my mirror. Dark ovals dusted then cleared, one after another, as if someone paced between cab and box. No door opened. No latch clacketh. The CB died to a pure tone like a tuning fork until a child's voice asked if I'd seen their dad. I shut it off with a thumb that shook. The hood started catching flecks of black snow, ash or bugs, until I realized they were letters, tiny, spelled in hoarfrost, forming my name in reverse where I could read it in the glass. I kept both hands pinned and counted poles. An exit flashed with a gas logo I hadn't seen since the 90s. A man waved a red flag on the ramp, smile too wide, motioning me down to a lot that the snow had erased. I stayed in the groove, let the white pour past, and did not chase a safe harbor that had closed before I learned to drive. My rule: between exits, the road is a promise. Everything else is an offer. These nights repeat, names change, miles don't. If something paces you between exits, keep speed, eyes forward, hands light. The logbooks say weather. The drivers say rules. Choose which keeps you breathing tonight.